appreciate that. Well, and it's funny as we sit here, like we're in the minority, which is interesting, and that's tongue in cheek even saying that. But Democrats and even just coming out and saying that you're a Democrat, and the reaction that people have based on that. To be perfectly transparent and honest with you, I probably don't know as much about from the Democratic perspective what's going on in the city of Rochester relative to that. I can only comment and add on to what you said. Is I know that from a suburban perspective, I think people are afraid to go back downtown. I mean, my previous life, I said to Bob, I used to be a news reporter. People were comfortable going downtown, whether you're going to a concert, an Amerks game, some of the great restaurants that we had downtown, when the Hyatt opened. And I think now with Rochester, within the state of New York, one of the highest murder rates in the state, people just aren't comfortable. And I think that's been reflected. And sadly, some of the things you've seen where people don't go downtown anymore.
That's the worst part of it in my perspective, because not only have I heard the nonsense, I personally have experienced it. I actually had my tires slashed going to a concert downtown at MLK Park. I'm sorry, Daniel Prude Amphitheater.
Oh my gosh.
That's that I say that tongue in cheek, because I do not personally believe that person deserves his name recognized or uplifted in any kind of way, just because
What's next? The Arthur Shawcross Expressway?
Yeah, I was just going to say, good Lord.
Yeah. So,
Arthur Shawcross.
We had the Daniel Prude thing came up recently. We had some city council members who, made it Daniel Day last week.
Yeah.
The PAB released a bunch of information that they probably shouldn't have. Actually, I know they shouldn't have, regarding some incidents that they saw were inappropriate, yet they didn't go through the system at all. What are some of your thoughts on the PAB? Do you have any thoughts on the Police Accountability Board?
Unfortunately, with everything, and I just saw something, I think it was on the news either last night or the night before, where they had released a report. I don't know how much respect the community has for the RAB board. I mean, you've had a lot of transition. You've had people leave. You've had people resign. I like the concept behind what the RAB board is supposed to be.
PAB.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. I don't know how much latitude it has. I was just thinking too, Jose, when you asked me, I think the mayor's I think he's got a really, really tough job. Really tough job.
Do you think he's fit for that job?
I honestly don't know.
Okay.
I couldn't say from a credentialing perspective. I mean,
he was in the city school board.
Yep.
He was the president of city school board when they lost like $10 million. And then he jumped over to city council for a few, and then jumped into the mayor. I personally know him because I was on city council. I worked with him when he was on a school board. I can honestly say, from my own personal point of view, being on the inside of the political arena, being behind the scenes, my issue with the Democrat Party consistently is we do not push forward people with any kind of real world experience. People who have, built businesses, started businesses, hired employees, fired employees. We have a lot of people who are actively engaged with protesting. I don't know what your thoughts on that are, because I feel like a lot of those people are kind of overtaking the Democrat Party, and gives me, from my perspective, it gives us a bad name when we
gives us a black eye. Definitely.
Literally as well.
Yeah.
The Democratic Party breeds activism. There's always a tagline next to someone's name that they're a proud activist. Like, for what? You know what I mean? Like, to me,
he's a Republican, by the way.
100%.
I figured as much.
How did you figure that? Like, usually I get looked at a different way by.
No.
By,
Jose said he was happy to have. He wasn't referring to you, right, and I.
And I don't want to typecast you as white. Are you white?
I am. Yes.
All right. So you are from the Caucasian.
Sometimes
persuasion.
people think I'm Hispanic, but yes.
That's what I was kind of taken back. Like, I don't know. You look at.
He's from the hills of Caucasus.
Right. You got a little brown in him.
Yep.
With the Angel last name.
Yes. I used to get that in school all the time.
But yeah, it seems though that the Democratic Party, since I'd love to go back in time. Since the 60s has perfected the art of creating activism, agitations. When things don't go their way, they will find a way to burn the house down and then blame the other people for, making them do it.
I feel as though that's an extremist part of the party and by no means actually speaks for the party. It's unfortunate in my perspective that the Democrats have allowed them to have a position in their team.
Well, look at history. Throughout history, name one time where a conservative individual created some sort of far right, I don't know, terrorist attack or some sort of
Democrats would say that was Donald Trump.
January 6th.
Yeah, so that is, I'm glad.
How many Democrats do we think were?
That's the thing. See, I like that because even going back to when the Democrats were doing it, there were nefarious people on each side, like the CIA and FBI, that were causing these types of uprisings where people would react, and all of a sudden you have a situation like January 6th where the individuals that were involved of January 6th with the numerous videos that have been presented and show that there wasn't this insurrection. It's just been this rallying cry that the left has used as some sort of political tool to make Donald Trump look more like an extremist. Like, there's no more debate with the Democratic Party. I remember back in the day when they were debating, back when they had the Kucinich of the world, the real even going back with the Obama and Hillary Clinton debate, they used to actually talk about actual solutions and policies. Now it's just fear mongering. It's finger pointing.
Do you agree with that? Larry, what are your thoughts? What are your views on our Democratic Party?
Well, no, I agree with Lavelle on some of the things that he's talking about relative to that. The debates, they become more around style than they are substance, how you look, how you sound, how you interact. I would, to answer your question, Jose, I'm disappointed in the Democrats only in the context of what we used to represent and what we used to look for. Because like my son would say to me, my kids would say to me, Dad, why are you a Democrat as opposed to a Republican? Most of my friends, most of my family, they're all Republicans. And it just goes back. I said, Democrats, we look at government as a way to help people.
Yep.
It's a way that you can get involved, help people be there. Republicans, conservatives, less government is better. I've tried to simplify it that easy way that I can. So there's a lot. I mean, even, and I'm going to say
that's a pretty
this,
good simplification, though.
well, that's how I've told my kids that. And I was definitely much more liberal when I was in college. I'm definitely much more middle of the road now.
But you say you're more conservative.
I am more. I would say that too.
go.
Yeah.
Okay, good. I was gonna try and figure out what type of Democrat you were, but it seems like we are certainly more alike than we are different. That's for sure. So I appreciate you saying that. I can't wait to get to the next part of this conversation, which will be, in my opinion, your thoughts on how Kamala Harris came to be the Democrat nominee, which I do have some issue with. After this break,
Yes, I do.
At the WYSL station, excellent to hear. 346-3000 is the number to call. Here we have legitimate conversations. Other shows on other channels, they like to sow discord. Let's just say that. Up here, we try to find that middle ground and uplift America. Here at the Politically Correcting Show on the WYSL station. Back after this.
Hi, my name is Greg Sadwick, and along with my son Zach, we are the owners of Flower City Collision. We've been advertisers on WYSL, the voice of liberty, for the last couple of years. So I want to thank the listeners of WYSL for their patronage, which has allowed us to grow and reinvest in the latest technologies to ensure that your vehicles are repaired to the most current standards, whether conventional or EV. If you're in a collision, reach out to Zach at Flower City Collision in Henrietta, and he'll work with your national insurance company on your local behalf to ensure that your repair gets done right.
Youth for Christ Rochester is focused on keeping kids safe and healthy this summer. We provide a Christ-like culture in our skills and drills, Friday night or Saturday morning basketball. And we're so excited to start all 3 versions of our new God's Girls middle school programs. Consider connecting your business or ministry to one of these vital programs for City Youth through a sponsorship. Reach me at mhennessy@yfcrochester.org or support us online with a one-time or monthly gift. Go to yfcrochester.org/donate.
Prop 1 could legalize discrimination against women and girls. It would jeopardize programs for senior citizens. No wonder it's being opposed by liberals, conservatives, and moderates alike.
If you say yes to girls' sports, vote no on Prop 1.
If you say yes to protecting children, vote no on Prop 1.
If you say yes to parental agency, vote no on Prop 1.
If you say yes to senior housing, vote no on Prop 1.
By voting no on Prop 1, you're saying yes to equality and common sense. Prop 1, bad for our daughters, bad for female athletes, bad for senior citizens, bad for religious liberty.
On November 5th, vote for equality and progress. Vote no on Prop 1.
Paid for by the Coalition to Protect Kids, New York.
Hey, this is Striker that calls into the
last spot.
PCP boys. I'd love to have you come listen to my podcast, Just an Old Guy with a Mic. If you like the content of WYSO, I think you'll like my podcast, Just an Old Guy with a Mic, on Podbean, Spotify, and Amazon podcast apps.
Politically correcting.
All right, we are back with a conversation with a fellow Democrat, Larry Angel. Thank you so much for staying on from the previous show and talking to the politically correcting boys, Lavelle Lewis, myself, the Jose P.O. Of course, we got Dr. Bob and Bobby D back there on the 1s and 2s. When we left the last break, I was talking about the Kamala coup, in my opinion, what it was. I wanted to hear your perspective on not only do you feel as if your vote mattered in that election in primary, basically, but also, don't you think this may be kind of it's showing exactly what the Democrats have become, where we only care about the power as opposed to democracy? Because, I mean, let's be honest, we did this with, Bernie Sanders before. We did this with Tulsi Gabbard before. So I want to get your perspective, though. What are your thoughts? Was that a coup?
I definitely think it was a coup, Jose. I would agree with you 100%. I think as a Democrat, I would be remiss. I think I've certainly felt for the last 2 years that as much respect as I have for President Biden, not always agreeing with some of his decisions. One of the things I felt that he brought back to the White House that we didn't have under the Trump administration was respect for the office, character, leadership. But it was obvious just based on his age that, and the debate, as we all know, was what put us over the final thing, that he was in no position to continue on to be on the ballot for president.
So closely sniffing kids and being all up in their faces all awkwardly that's okay. It's good to go. We're good on that one.
That's what you meant by the character.
Not weird.
Yeah,
that's not weird.
It is. Some of it was a little bit.
Okay, so you did see that.
What about when he asked Charlamagne Tha God, if you ain't vote for Joe Biden, you ain't black?
That's not what he said. He said, if you don't know,
if you don't know whether to vote for Donald Trump or Joe Biden, and you ain't black.
That was a little disrespectful, I would say.
No, disagree.
What about the crime bill back in 1970 that he signed that was really responsible for, the incarceration of a lot of black men with the drug bill?
Under the Nixon administration?
No.
Do you think Joe Biden is our president right now?
No.
Okay, who do you think is actually running our country?
People have said to me they think Jill Biden is kind of behind the scenes.
She ran a cabinet meeting a week ago. You found that as weird, right? Of
course.
I saw that as a direct slap in the face of America. I didn't vote for Jill Biden to be running cabinet meetings.
No, but people used to say that too, and he should rest in peace with Ronald Reagan towards the end, where he lost that Nancy was definitely the one that was running for it. But to come back to I really wish that the Democratic Party, when Biden had passed the torch on, had opened it up, because, and I've said this from the get-go, these Trump, Biden, and Kamala are definitely, these are not, to me, the best candidates for the highest office in the United States of America.
Oh, I'm in perfect agreement.
We've gotten away. I mean, people don't want to. We were just talking about the mayor and I was thinking about with Mayor Lovely when she left and what he kind of brought in, and one of the reasons I think he got elected as mayor. People are afraid to get involved in politics again. One of the things people have asked me, is there any regrets? Sometimes I wish I had gotten into politics. I followed it. I was a news reporter, but I've been.
For who? What channel were you?
I was just saying to Bob.
1370, the earlier permutation before XXI.
Late 80s.
Okay.
Late 80s. I did that for 2 years as a news reporter.
Fantastic.
But I wish that the Democrats had opened it up. Because now
the primary.
Do
you wish that they had opened it up to RFK Jr., or are you under the belief that RFK Jr. is a little too far out?
I think. Listen, I'm a huge Kennedy fan.
Okay. Well, you're a Kennedy Democrat.
I'm a Kennedy Democrat.
Fantastic.
And I've had the opportunity. I've met 4 previous presidents of the United States in different ways. I had the opportunity to meet John Kennedy Jr. at one time, which was amazing. So, yes, I'm a Kennedy Democrat. And I think John Kennedy would be turning over in his grave with what the Democrats have become, as I think Ronald Reagan would with what the Republican Party has become. But I do not. My wife asked me, she said, when you look at Kamala, what do you see? And I said, an empty suit, unfortunately.
Well, I feel it's the same way with Joe Biden. I mean, I think the party has gotten to the point, or maybe even politics in general, has kind of gotten to the point where we are voting for a figurehead as opposed to an actual leader. So it's basically at this point, who do you want to be the character that is portraying president? Because we know for a fact right now that neither Joe Biden nor Kamala Harris is actually at the wheel.
It's how Ukraine got Zelensky, right? Like, he's an actor, pretty much.
Yeah.
There's nothing that I seen that even with Joe Biden, how he was, I don't know how he miraculously became the nominee back when he was like at the bottom of the polls of his own primary with other Democrats. Folks like Tulsi Gabbard was ahead of him. Right. And then just looking back at other elections where there was always some backdoor stuff happening within the DNC that, you know, they were purposely rigging certain things so that they get their candidate that they wanted for whatever reason, for whatever the next plan is for the Democratic Party. You could see it right here. It's not about who's the best and brightest. And it's the same on the right side. As much as I support the current candidate of choice, I don't think he's the best candidate of choice. As far as within,
you can say Trump,
Donald Trump, yeah, but he still has my votes, because still at the end of the day, for when we're talking about on a global scale, he represents that nationalistic pride that we need as a country right now. To be on the left, the Democrats, a lot of Democrats are afraid to say they're proud to be American. Because they'll create some other reason why they're not proud to be an American. They'll blame Donald Trump. They'll point the finger instead of looking at their own self, hold themselves accountable, and see some of the things that has been supported on the left throughout the years. It's what kind of rubs the folks on the right the wrong way. People, it's not a bad thing to have nationalistic pride, and to say I heard the last caller, saying MAGA, make America great again. That's not a bad thing. It's correct. Like, what's wrong with saying that? Why is that something that the left has demonized and used as a weapon?
Because it was easy. Because Democrats, we control the narrative at this point, and I believe that's how we continue to kind of sway the elections in a way, because we are, I'll be honest, we're in cahoots with Google, with Facebook, with all these huge entities that control all of the data. So they know how to say certain things to get to certain people. I think the Democrat Party has really perfected the opportunity to understand how to use data in a way to sway people towards what they want them to see. So when Joe Biden came up, they used the data to say, all right, Joe Biden, you're going to talk on these points right here, and you're really going to be the centralist, moderate Democrat that you need to be in order to get elected. All right, Kamala, we need you to say that you're what's the word that she was using on social media? She's a brat or something like that. They're using brat term. It was so weird, so stupid.
I don't know.
But you brought up the Trump thing. I'm at this point, it was a couple weeks ago. I've never voted for Trump. I was very much like, I just don't like both parties anyway. So I usually go third party, and I had every intention of voting for RFK.
Yep.
I've came out and said that I will vote for Trump this year because I'm an RFK fan, because of the health issues, the health
Mike Hennessy
that we have in this country regarding our terrible food, packaged food, the amount of ingredients that are allowed in this country versus other countries. I think the RFK has been a proponent of fighting against that. And then Tulsi Gabbard's my girl. That is my girl. I wanted her to be the president. I wanted her to be the very first freaking female president. I am 100% behind Tulsi Gabbard. And when RFK and Tulsi both said they're supporting Trump, I love both of them and what they stand for. And I hate the IRS, and I hate war, and I hate warmongers. And we see that the top warmongers are supporting Kamala. I said, well, I mean.
So, Jose, were you surprised that JFK supported Trump over Kamala? RFK?
I was very surprised about that. But he also said that he went to the Kamala camp and said, hey, let's work together on this. And they basically snubbed him, just like they did when he was trying to say, hey, Joe Biden's not our guy. He obviously cannot run this country. Let's do a primary, and I'm going to primary him. And they didn't let him. If we're the party of democracy, we have to allow primaries. That is a Republican thing that they don't allow primaries. We should, as Democrats. Mike, I'm so sorry. I know that you called, but we're going to have to take a little break here. Actually, there's going to be a little extended break, a couple minutes.
Yeah, Mike H., if you can hang on for 5 minutes, we'll come to you after the break.
Larry, I know you got to go. Can you stay?
I got to go.
Ah, you bastard. I appreciate you staying and having the conversation, though, very much. I love these types of conversations, and we'll be back after this break with the WYSL. We are the politically correcting boys, Lavelle Lewis, myself, the birthday boy, Jose P.O. Back after this break.
Mike is hanging on through the break.
Every time we're together, it never be the same. If you're not here, how can you stay away so long? Why can't we stay together?
God bless America.
WYSL.
AM 1040 Avon Rochester, FM 92.1 Rochester, and FM 95.5 Spencerport.
Here's the latest forecast from the News 10 NBC Weather Center for tonight. Lots of scattered showers, maybe a thunderstorm. Temperatures around 60 degrees on Thursday. An early morning shower, a thunderstorm, then clearing skies. We'll actually end the day with some sunshine and very pleasant weather in the low 70s. Some beautiful weather on Friday into the 70s with some sunshine. Few clouds as we head into the weekend. Generally dry in the 70s. I'm Rich Cornelia, WYSL.
FM Talk. Looking for a vehicle with strength and capability? Get behind the wheel of the all-new 2024 Chevy Silverado. It's rugged, tough, and ready for anything. It can be yours for only $298 a month. Or go electric with the all-new 2024 Chevy Blazer EV. It's bold, efficient, and now just $248 a month. Whether you're tackling the toughest jobs with the Silverado or cruising in style with the Blazer EV, Bob Johnson has the perfect vehicle to match your lifestyle. Want it today? Drive it today with Bob Johnson's same-day delivery. Plus, Bob Johnson Chevrolet will beat any local competitor's Chevy offer. For details, call 1-800-503-9025.
Bob Johnson Chevrolet. Bob Johnson Chevrolet. Bob Johnson Chevrolet.
Go to BobJohnsonChevy.com. Together, let's drive.
It was 1949. The National Basketball Association was formed. The George Eastman residence was turned into a museum. And a very fiery woman named Mary Cariola, armed with a big heart and even bigger plans, founded what today is the Mary Cariola Center. Today, the agency celebrates its 75th anniversary, and they're looking for your help to continue the mission of educating and caring for children and youth with intellectual developmental disabilities. Hey, join the celebration. Consider a donation for the anniversary. $75 for 75 years. Please visit marycarriola.org and click on donate. And let's keep this agency going for another 75 years.
Hi, my name is Evan Spindleman, founder and owner of Flood Broker. Flood insurance premiums are skyrocketing, and if you have to have flood insurance coverage to secure your mortgage, you owe it to yourself to call me to see how I can save you money on your flood insurance premium. The insurance programs I use are bank accepted and will satisfy your loan requirement. Please give me a call at 585-736-4366 today to get a free no obligation quote. That's 585-736-4366. Call today.
Ciders, seltzers, and selkies, presented by Blue Barn Cidery and Bud Light Seltzer, will be at Batavia Downs on Saturday, September 28th. Sample local and national ciders and seltzers while taking in live racing that night on the track. The cost is $30, and you get back $15 in free play and a free wager on racing. Head to BataviaConcerts.com for tickets.
Today's heat pump systems are a better, more convenient way to keep your home comfortable all year round. They'll keep you cool on the hottest summer days and keep you warm on the coldest winter nights. Plus, these all-weather ductless or ducted systems are up to 40% more efficient than conventional heating and cooling systems. Upgrade to an energy-efficient heat pump system and take advantage of clean heat rebates. Find out more at airquipheating.com.
Airquip Heating and Air.
FM Talk.
Fall and winter are the best time to have your fleet truck and vehicle graphics done at Sign Blazer. Stop in at their showroom, Route 15, just north of Lakeville, and get 15% off your design. Sign Blazer.
Visit SandBlazerSands.com. Please visit SandBlazerSands.com. Check out SandBlazerSands.com.
Now is the time to make sure your child is receiving education, not indoctrination. Archangel School is academically challenging, Common Core, and CRT free, a brighter school experience that honors your traditional American values. If you're looking for an affordable Catholic faith-based school for your child from preschool through grade 12, come to Archangel School's open house on Thursday, October 10th from 6 to 7:30. Enroll now at archangelschool.com or call 585-247-1112.
Hey, this is Striker that calls into WYSL's PCP Boys. I'd love to have you come listen to my podcast, Just an Old Guy with a Mic. If you like the content of WYSL, I think you'll like my podcast, Just an Old Guy with a Mic, on Podbean, Spotify, and Amazon podcast apps.
Politically correcting.
All right, we're back from our extended break. Unfortunately, Larry Angel had to leave. I appreciate him staying on, though, and having the conversations because it's
Mike,
few and far between that, someone who, is able to sit here and support Kamala Harris is able to actually have a conversation with people that may disagree with them. It's kind of ridiculous that in this country, we're at that point where you can't have a conversation, a legitimate conversation about your viewpoints and where you stand. That's why we have this radio show, Politically Correcting Show.
Definitely
one of the few. Yeah, I appreciate him very much. We'll make sure we have him back on because we were not done with that conversation. That's for sure. Because there's certainly more to bring up. I was talking about how I feel as if the Democrats have basically perfected the art of data. Where's that noise coming from?
I think that's Mike is on the line or something.
Is Mike on the line? Do we still have Mike on the line?
Yeah, he's breathing.
Hey, guys.
Hey, what's going on?
It's Mike the breather.
I thought it was one of the girls from the two fit chicks the other day.
I thought it was Darth Vader for a second.
Am I breathing heavy again?
Good. Go ahead, Mike.
Lord
what do you got
Vader
for us, brother?
is on the phone.
I actually, had a question for Larry, but maybe you guys can answer for you. I mean, I get a sense of where he's coming from now, but I would just like to ask him as a Kamala supporter, how will he feel about if Kamala wins, and I don't think she's going to, but if Kamala wins, how is he going to feel if it's discovered that the only reason she won is by the votes of illegal aliens, and would a Kennedy Democrat support that?
Mike, that's fake news, though. That's considered fake news, right?
No, they found 200,000 illegal aliens already registered in Arizona.
Yeah, and actually voted in the elections in Arizona, as well as because they're allowed to vote in the state elections. They're not allowed to vote in the federal elections. But they said in the article that I read that they were actually given full access to the ballot. And in the same article, it stated not only were they given full access to the ballot and were able to vote in the federal election, but the amount of the votes wouldn't have mattered in that election. But Mike, do you remember how many votes Joe Biden won Arizona by?
Oh, it was like 12,000 or something like that.
Exactly. It was less than 15,000 votes. So we're talking 200,000 illegal voters who were given full access to vote. And in the same breath, in the same article, it stated, well, the amount of people who were able to vote it would not have affected the election.
And we're supposed to believe that the Democrats and the state and the state general or whoever's in control of the elections in Arizona is going to make sure that none of those votes get on the federal election. We're all going to believe her. Yeah.
Right. But the problem still remains that they told us that it is illegal for an illegal migrant or a non-citizen to vote in a federal election. So therefore it doesn't happen, right? Just like, it's illegal to murder. So therefore that doesn't happen.
Just like they also found out
another caller on hold
that there were 42,000 ballots received for Joe Biden that were never sent out.
Keith.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that when you have these types of conversations, people on the left is going to demonize you by calling you a conspiracy theorist, but this is in the articles. This is literally out there information that we can now see that the court system, when Trump was saying, look, there was some discrepancies. We need to have some insight into this. We need to look at this kind of stuff. We've got evidence saying that there's something there. At least there's smoke. There could be fire. And that's at the very least, I can sit here and say, I don't know, was the election stolen? I don't know. I would have loved for them to just come out with all the information, for the courts to say, you know what, let's check this out. Let's make them either A, prove their point, or 2, or B, make a fool of themselves. Either make a fool of yourself or prove your point. I wish the courts would have let them handle it in the court system and say, provide us the proof, provide us with somebody showing what exactly happened that you claim to have happened, or we're going to out you to the entire world that you're a dummy and that you're a liar and that you tried freaking ruining our elections for no reason.
Yeah.
But they wouldn't even let it happen. And that's where I have the problem. I really wish Democrats would have sat there and said, you know what, let's let them either bury themselves or maybe there is something going on with our election system that we do need to fix.
Wait, let who bury whoself?
Let Trump bury himself.
Oh, how?
If he was not able to provide the evidence.
Oh, okay. As far as okay, I get it. But see, that's the thing. The Democratic Party, they cannot win in court because the only way they can win in court is if that's rigged.
Because facts don't matter.
The only way they can win elections unless that's rigged. Everything that we've been experiencing from this party has all fallen within the wheelhouse of Marxist communism. And the previous, guest and Larry, when he was on the Peter show, he was speaking about the treatment that he would receive from other Republican conservatives, how they would call him a communist. Well, unfortunately, you could be talking to people, voters, who may have some foreknowledge of Marxism, communism, right? That one of the things that Karl Marx said is, you with your enemy, accuse your enemy of doing the same thing that you're doing.
Right.
And that's what they do.
The scariest thing that's going on right now, and we're going to get to our caller, Keith, in a second. The scariest thing that's happening, in my opinion, is the facts are out there, and you can clearly see the facts about various topics, but people are refusing to either see it, acknowledge it, or accept it. Right. And that's where I am most scared for our country, that when the facts are clear and obvious, and they still say it is disinformation, misinformation, and that the government needs to work with these social media companies to kind of, fix this issue with disinformation. Man, that sounds super communist to me.
Yeah, right.
Very Marxist.
Once the mind is demoralized, there's no amount of evidence that will convince them.
Yeah, that's something I wish that we had time with Larry to discuss. Does he see it the same way I do? Because I do see myself as a.
Well, I would love to know what a Democrat's basic knowledge of communism is. Like, what do they know about it? Do they understand it? Do they understand how it operates?
Doesn't matter. They changed the definition anyways. We got Keith on the line. Keith, how you doing, brother?
Well, here goes. I don't understand your guest there, Mr. Angel. I guess supposedly he's a good guy, but how supposedly good people, in this case, allow themselves to be bamboozled on the Arizona case alone. And I was appalled because I try and keep up on things, but I did not know it was as bad as reiterated by your caller, Mike, that it was actually stolen that way. That says that Carrie Lake was denied the governorship and the corrupt, evil Katie Hobbs is in there. Everyone should know the Democrats now are crooks. They do not want honest government. They want the fraud. So that's the answer right there. And Mr. Angel can make all kinds of excuses, but for a supposedly good person to today to remain in the Democrat Party, period, that to me is corrupt. And
but what if they don't see it that way, Keith? Like, how do you break through that?
That's your lens.
That wall.
Well, I'm going to take on Mr. Pio here. Your RFK guy, except for I agree with him on processed food and the government and so on, but he's very much a flaming lefty. He's against fracking. I think you, Mr. Pio, want us to be energy independent. RFK is not going to give us that. He's much more liberal than JFK would have ever thought. My final comment would have been to Angel if he'd stayed. I can understand JFK rolling in his grave about the current state of the Democrat Party, but for him, Angel, going on Trump derangement to say that Ronald Reagan would be spinning in his grave with Trump, I wanted to ask, for me, very conservative, I could say somewhat cynically that Trump is still a Manhattan Democrat, but what is so bad and evil that the Ronald Reagan would have real conniptions with the Donald? With Trump, I don't understand when Angel said that, whether he was being facetious, but when these Dems say that Trump is a true threat to democracy, no, it's the Democrat Party that is taking away our freedoms and liberties, not Trump. And I would have questioned Mr. Angel on his contention that the Ronald Reagan would have a real problem with the Trump. Do either of you gentlemen want to answer that?
He left before I could peel, back the layers of that point, because there are a lot of things within Reagan that I don't like, as far as the Iran contraband and those certain things. But when it comes to nationalism and loving the country, Reagan and Donald Trump were aligned on that part.
Well, we're going to have Mr. Larry Angel on again. Hopefully, I'm going to extend the offer to certainly come back on because, I do see him as someone that maybe he is just too busy leading a good life to be worried about Fox News, Breitbart News, and researching the amount of information that Lavelle Lewis and myself, the Jose Pio, research every freaking night for your benefit of this show.
He gets it from the View.
I don't think so. I don't think Larry watches it. You don't watch that crap.
We'll see.
We'll love to have a conversation, but we're going to take a quick break here at the WYSL station. 346-3000 is the number to call. We'll jump right back into actually my response to that anti-fracking comment that Mr. Keith had asked. So we'll be right back after this.
Yes, the birthday boy will return.
I'm Greece Chamber of Commerce President.
We have Tito from Fairport.
If you're looking to market and grow your business, make new business connections, and give back to the community in a meaningful way, consider joining the Greece Regional Chamber. We are the largest suburban chamber in Monroe County, and we offer networking, education, marketing, insurance, and advocacy. You do not need to live or work in Greece to join. Our members come from throughout the region. In short, we are better together, and together we can move your business forward. Visit greasechamber.org or call 585-227-7272 to join today. You'll be glad you did.
Open Door Mission is deeply grateful because of your generous heart.
Yes, it's in politically correcting folder.
To find shelter with respect and dignity. For families who are revitalized with hope and strength. For restored, healthy relationships for those on the road to lifelong recovery. For people empowered with new skills and opportunities. With your continued help, more doors will open. Please go to opendoormission.com.
Hi, my name is Greg Sadwick, and along with my son Zach, we are the owners of Flower City Collision. We've been advertisers on WISL, the voice of liberty, for the last couple of years. So I want to thank the listeners of WISL for their patronage, which has allowed us to grow and reinvest in the latest technologies to ensure that your vehicles are repaired to the most current standards, whether conventional or EV. If you're in a collision, reach out to Zach at Flower City Collision in Henrietta, and he'll
last spot
National Insurance Company on your local behalf to ensure that your repair gets done right.
Politically correcting.
It's my birthday. No, it's not. But I still look good though.
All right, we are back. What are you hating on? Got Lavelle Lewis hating on.
I'm trying to help you out. Camera's on. That stuff lasts for a long time, bro.
He's a hater. Lavelle Lewis is a hater of the Jose Fio. And here we are back to talk more. We do have a caller, actually. Before I get into the fracking conversation, Tito might have something to say about that, but I do want to hear from him. Tito, how you doing, brother?
Hey, how's it going? I'm just calling in because you were mentioning that you might want to talk to an average Democrat about what they think about communism. I also wanted to mention that quote that you said that you accuse your enemies of what you're doing to them. That was actually not Marx. That was Joseph Goebbels, the Nazi head of propaganda for the Nazis.
Okay. Thank you.
Marx did not say that.
Good call.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tito, for that.
So I guess I was kind of wondering, like, you guys attack socialism and communism a lot. First, I guess I would ask you, what do you see as the differences between communism and socialism, and what's your main problem with them?
The government. That's the main problem. I mean, they're in control of everything. They take what you, the citizen, create. You don't have any type of freedom of, being able to benefit from the fruit of your labor, pretty much.
I'm gonna go ahead and agree there.
Socialism. Socialism is
you said communism is socialism.
Companies.
Socialism is all of the programs that are funded and given to you by the government.
Communism is where the government owns the means of production.
Correct.
That's the difference.
Not really. I mean, you could say that the people own the means of production, but yeah. So socialism is when the workers own the companies instead of CEOs and investors. And
you can do that right now, though.
See the product of their own labor rather than having 30-40% skimmed off the top to go to CEOs and investors. And communism, my understanding of it is that it's about people having a generally equal share of the overall economy. So if the GDP per person is $80,000, people should be making somewhere in the range of $80,000 per person. I mean,
that doesn't happen. That's never happened.
Fantasy land.
Yeah.
And that's why socialism and communism was able to kind of rear its ugly head and get accepted by the people, because they had that belief that that's what it meant. Like, oh, now that the government came and, forced the evil capitalists to give us our share. First of all, you need the capitalists to create the idea to give you a job to begin with.
They're going to be the pimps. They're going to say, well, I take care of you. I protect you. I feed you. I clothe you. I'm going to take this money because I need to pay for all that. And then you're going to get scraps.
Right.
That's what's going to end up happening in real life.
And you think about it, the big corporations, the big box corporations that are doing what they do now, they're always going to be close to the government. They're going to be the first ones to make sure they're protected. And then the little guy, the people who believe that equality is an actual thing, you will lose out, because first of all, people will not carry their equal share of labor. You will have people who will slack off. You have people who will not even try to work hard to put into the system. So the money is going to start to dry up. And then like what happened in Russia, how many people died when the Bolsheviks went through or whatever? Like
Stalin killed 100 million people.
Okay.
I think Tito's talking.
Starved to death then. But listen, the idea behind socialism is that when workers own the companies and the companies are the ones that have all the money and can influence government, then it's actually working people who are influencing the government because they're electing their CEOs, they're electing their representation. So all that money that's in the economy is under control of the working people rather than a select few.
Here's the thing. You can do that right now. Like nothing's stopping a co-op from forming so that the workers own the means of production.
Yeah, there's quite a bit stopping co-ops from forming, and it's capitalist. Capitalists. I mean, not only have we, cooed every. Why do you think it is that we coup and attack and in Vietnam, Korea, and the Russian Cold War? Why is it that the government has been telling us that communism and socialism is bad for the last 80 years? And waging wars, spending millions and billions and trillions of dollars to put down capitalism or communism and socialism everywhere it comes up. Do you think that's because it's a failed ideology that can't work?
Yes.
Why is communist China about to surpass the economy?
He might have a hold on. Tito might have a point here.
Yeah, you might have a point to pointing out where in China everybody's super happy living in China, right? Pretty much.
Well,
Everyone's
happiness is they do have a higher reported happiness level than in the United States. Yes, that is true. I mean, I wouldn't say everyone's super happy.
They accepted tyranny over there, right? They accepted a social credit score to where they'll get shut down if they jaywalk across the street. They are completely controlled over how they spend their money within that socialistic communist government.
The only people that are free in the United States are the rich.
Wait, no, go back to China because you brought up China. You said China's a good example. They have a social credit score over there in China where if they do something wrong, their checking accounts get shut down. That's what you get from communism. Control, no freedom.
Democracy is the most important thing above any kind of economic system, first of all. They don't have democracy in China. So that's where most of their problems come from, is built on a faulty political system of tyranny. So it's never going to work. But their economy, and the same with Russia's. Russia went from being a backwater country with no military to a world superpower in 50 years under the Soviet Union, under communism.
Because it's a benefit for the government. That's how they grow.
But Russians are happy.
That's what we're told, but yet they're also broke. They're also poor. They're also the only people again that benefits from.
But does it matter?
The government.
I'm going to jump with Tito on this one though. Does it matter?
Because it aligns with why the Democrats do what they do.
Say something.
Okay, go ahead.
Tito, I appreciate you calling. I don't mean to keep talking over you or cutting you out or anything like that, but you brought up a great point. I'm going to actually take it from here because I kind of agree here. If everything is taken care of for you on a basic level, meaning you don't have the mentality that you have right now. I don't have the mentality that I have right now. I'm just Joe Blow who I just want to live my life. I just want to be, okay and be able to just, take care of my family. And that's about it. I don't care about becoming a millionaire. I don't care about having a flashy car. I don't care about this and the other. I care about my kids being fed every single day, 3 square meals a day without worrying about paying for RG&E, without worrying about paying for rent. If I'm of that mentality, then why doesn't that sound good to me?
Because you know what it does? Now it eliminates your ability to think and be an individual.
Why would I want to be one if I'm that person?
This is why we live in a republic, because it's about the individual.
I get
right?
that, but look at Rochester right now. Is it working?
Within anything that involves our country as being a republic, it is also created based off of our belief system. We believe in God within a society. That's what really this whole thing boils down to.
Well, what if there was a system
protecting your inalienable right? Yep. Separating you from the government. This is why we are a republic, not a democracy. It's about the individual. So to your point, to explain the reason why you don't want the government to do that in a sense separates you from your God, from your creator, and puts the government up front to where you yourself, you don't become a creator. You become now a slave, a mental slave, because you're not thinking outside the box. You're not putting yourself or pushing yourself to the highest potential because the government eliminated that from you.
What if there is no, my mother, let's take my mother, for example, right? Her husband died. He was the main caretaker. And now trying to get her basic needs met, you know, she has to get government subsidies. She has to get government help with the rent. You know, she doesn't have the income that was coming from before. Why, as a country, don't we take care of a woman that's not old enough to retire, can't go just start another freaking job because she got fired for not taking the jab? You know, why can't we take care of that person?
Because we do, and the reason why we're able to take care of her is because of the capitalist that continues to create goods and services that get traded in the open market and create jobs to put more into the system. That's the only reason why she can't. Because within the communist, because within the communist system, when the money dries out, she gets left out in the cold.
I agree. I'm not with it. I'm just trying to make some kind of,
and I'm just shutting them down.
Point here.
Shutting them down.
I appreciate the conversation. Appreciate the calls. Everybody out there, go ahead and wish me a happy birthday on our page because you love your boy, the Jose P.L. Lavelle Lewis, myself, Bobby, Dr. Bob. Love you guys very much. We'll see you again on Monday.
Tell you I'm local when you playing is to put the rap game in the choke on. Fully focused, man. My money on my mind, got a meal out the deal, and I'm still in the grind. Now shorty say she feeling my style, she feeling my flow. A girl from Wooded, they buy and they ready to go. Mommy, yeah, club, bottle full of bug. Mama, I got what you need. You need to feel the boss. I'm in that. Come give me a hug, get in the rub. You can find me in the club, bottle full of bug. Mama, I got what you need. You need to feel the boss. I'm in that.
Here come those cool late summer nights, soon to be replaced by bitter cold. Slash your heating costs this fall and winter with Aaron Moore infrared zone heaters. They can save you big compared to just using your furnace, especially if you're still using fuel oil. Aaron Moore heat is healthier. No burning of oxygen and particulates to dry out your nose, sinuses, and skin. You get even quiet heat that fills rooms with warmth, not dust and blower noise, oxygen rich and moist. Aaron Moore heaters are completely safe. No exposed hot surfaces or heating elements to pose shock or fire hazards. Plus complete safety for children and pets. For a limited time, save even more with preseason sale pricing. Save $30 on either size Aaron Moore. Whether you buy the Comfort Deluxe or the Compact Comfort Buddy for smaller areas. Specify discount code WYSL in your shopping cart. Free shipping in the continental U.S. Copper PTC technology means there are no bulbs to replace ever. Built like a battleship, maintenance-free Aaron Moore infrared zone heaters are the way to really save on heating bills. Call 800-707-8725 or visit more.com.
God bless America.
WYSL.
AM 1040 Avon Rochester, FM 92.1 Rochester, and FM 95.5 Spencerport.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm John Scott. In the Gulf, Helene is now a hurricane. Hurricane specialist Jack Bevan of the National Hurricane Center says people have time to batten down or get out of the way of the storm.
Everybody who is in the path of Helene, particularly in the northeast Gulf Coast, should be making their preparations right now because the time to make them will be running out.